Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second ever Reptile Podcast. I'm so happy to be back here, and I'm so happy that we have this new upgraded setup here. It is much upgraded, much needed in my opinion. So this is probably the most upgraded recording-esque thing we've had thus so far. So, hello everybody. We're going to have two segments here today. We're going to go through some lists about animals to keep like we did in the last podcast. And then we're going to move on to Amazon, where we will be purchasing things, since I had $80 in Amazon cash that I didn't know. So, we are going to go look for some things. So without further ado, let's get started today. You're going to hear me drinking maybe a couple times during this podcast, but don't worry, I'm just drinking seltzer water. So, see, just like that. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I'm so happy to be back here. I see so many reptile YouTubers who are just like not happy with what they're doing, and I'm like, that's sad. I want to spread positivity since I know some people think life isn't that great, and I understand. So I'm here to just show you everything that I can give you and hopefully be a bright spot in everyone's day. This first one we got is by Pets by World Open Media, and this is 12 best reptiles easy to care or whatever. So 12 low maintenance reptiles, pets for beginners and experts alike. Alright. Number 1, a leopard gecko. I feel like this is a great number 1 pick. They're hardy, they're easy to take care of. You're going to find them pretty much everywhere. There are bunches of different morphs for every price range, and I think it's definitely one to look into. I own a leopard gecko. Her name is Cosmo. She is almost 7 years old. Isn't that ridiculous? But yes, very easy, very low maintenance. I find they're very comfortable with their settings. So let's go on to number 2. Russian tortoise. I actually didn't think to expect a tortoise at the number 2 spot, but yes, definitely one of the easier of the tortoise species to take care of. Definitely, I wouldn't recommend it as your first reptile though. It's for experts and beginners alike, so yeah, I mean, definitely, I didn't expect that to pop up though, but yeah, definitely, an interesting one. I mean, Russian tortoises need certain supplements and stuff that make them a little more difficult than other animals that need the basic supplements, but I do think it is a beginner level tortoise. Alright, what's at number 3? Crested geckos are at number 3 here, and I think that's an easy choice. Crested geckos are pretty darn easy to take care of. They're fun, they like climbing, and you don't have to feed them bugs if you don't want to. Of course, adding bugs would be great, but you can feed them. They're omnivore mix. They are generally pretty docile, like this website I think says right there. My mic is right in the way of this text. So, but I think the only downside is they never regrow their tail, and they're really susceptible to stress. So try not to stress them so they don't lose their tails. Ball pythons, easy beginner snake. Everybody has a ball python if they love the beginner animals because they're not difficult to take care of. You feed them once a week, you clean their enclosure. They're pretty darn set. Same thing goes with corn snakes. Both of the two are very generally handleable, so you're usually able to handle them both very easily. They don't get particularly long, like 3 feet-ish, 3 or 4 feet. They live about 20 years. Long time. But, I think they're definitely some reptiles that everybody can enjoy and just take care of. Well, I did not expect to see water dragons here, but every now and then I do like to see them. Water dragons are pretty personable. They have this kind of way about them. They've got, it seems like they have personality. Um, they will need kind of a larger terrarium. They need a water area so that they can, um, they can be in water. You're gonna need kind of a basking area, you know. So it's definitely um, commitment. They're like smaller iguanas, fair to say. They're not huge like the green iguanas. They're not gonna be huge. I need an absolutely humongous terrarium, but they're fast too. But I do think they're cool reptiles. Bearded dragons. Bearded dragons, I think, a lot of people give them more slack for what they are. Yes, they need a much larger enclosure than a lot of animals. Like a 50 or 60 gallon when full grown. But they are the friendliest animals you will ever meet. They'll cuddle up on your shoulder for hours. And both of my bearded dragons that I've had, Ego, who passed away, and my current one, Maximus, who I have now, they both just chill and relax on you, and they're just look. They've got a prehistoric look to them, and I just think it's awesome. Chameleons. Now, everyone usually has chameleons on their list when they have 12 spots or 20 spots to fill. But they're not really easy. They're more intermediate creatures. They're very fragile, and they have a specific kind of livelihood. Sometimes they're usually not that friendly. Some of them look really cool, like the Jackson's chameleon and the horned chameleon and things like that. And they need a specific level of humidity and a pretty large terrarium, pretty tall. So it's a commitment to get a chameleon, but if you're ready for the commitment, I say go for it. Red ear sliders. I detest having red ear sliders. Now, they're cool, they look cool, turtles look cool, but they're usually scared of humans. And they're everywhere. They're invasive. If you want a turtle, get a box turtle, because if you have a red-eared slider, you need like a 300-gallon tub of water with a giant filter running most of the day, and they're hard to take care of. No, they're not hard to take care of. They're just hard to socialize in, and you shouldn't have them in a tiny enclosure unless they're babies. So yes, I don't really want it. If you want one, get a box turtle. Box turtles are really cool creatures. But yeah, I mean, it's alright. African spurred tortoises. I've personally worked with a couple at my school and stuff. They're really fun, but they get huge. As a baby they're tiny, little guys like that. And then they get huge. Some of them can get like 70 or 80 pounds full grown, so you need to acquaint for that. And they also live like 60, 70 years, so to 100 years. I mean, I like them. They're just a little too big for some people. Here we are, box turtles, eastern box turtles. If you want a turtle, eastern box turtles are good to go. They live a long time, and they also don't have the aquatic requirements that red-eared sliders do. They're omnivores. They like their leafy greens, and I think they're great first-timer turtles. And if you want a turtle, get an eastern box turtle. Green anoles. Happy and anole made the list here because I find that anoles are really awesome, really cool, and overall just great pets. Yes, they're skittish. They're more of a, just look at the animal type thing. They don't live very long, but they're pretty cool, and they go really fast, and they're really small. So, they have fast metabolism, they need to be fed. They're omnivores, like most, and I think they're just really cool. So that concludes that list. 7 best reptiles to keep as pets. That's an interesting one. They got the best in the title here. It's only 7, so we're going to see the best of the best here specifically. We're going to save, whoa, pop-ups. Oh, no, timber rattlesnakes. Whoa, more pop-ups. 7 Central bearded dragons. Yes, bearded dragons are awesome. These are the ones where they are always intermediate. I don't know why they're intermediate. The central bearded dragons are the ones that most people have. Bearded dragons are one of the most popular animals in the world, of course, but I think they're not as expensive as some reptiles, and they're very fun to be with. They'll chill with you. They're like a companion, and I love them. I love them so much. I will own bearded dragons till the day I die. Green anoles made the list too, again. Like I said, I like anoles making the list, but I'm surprised it made this even smaller list. That surprises me. But hey, green anoles, cool. They don't need a large setup. They're very small. They're low main. I like how they have this at the beginner level. But they don't live a long time. 3 to 6 years is their lifespan, so be prepared to be having your anole for an extremely long time. Ball pythons, fun animals. Once again, the best beginner snake in my opinion. That or a corn snake. I mean, you could really convince me either way if you wanted to come and convince me. And they live a pretty decently long time, so hey. Leopard gecko is the best gecko species to own. I mean, I like gargoyle geckos, cresteds, but I've personally worked with a ton of leopard geckos, and I've loved every second that I've gotten to work with leopard geckos. I think they're an amazing creature. And I will personally work with a lot more. Cresties! Probably the easiest of the terrestrial geckos that climb. Yeah, I mean, there's gargoyle geckos and other things, but gargoyle geckos and crested geckos are much easier than togepi geckos and Leachianus geckos, the big boys, the leechies. They're awesome. They're not expensive. I think they're relatively inexpensive, and I love crested geckos. Russian tortoises. Yeah, I probably should have expected to see them on most lips because they're kind of the easiest to take care of. They don't get particularly huge. And I think it's either that or a Herman's tortoise, and I think they make great pets. So if you want a tortoise, do your research, kids. Get a document, do your research. Because they can be kind of expensive. And they can live 50 plus years. And then corn snakes, like I said, another great beginner reptile for the snake community. And that really ends off the list here. Now we go on to our biggest list here of the day. 20 best pet lizards for beginners. Now, 20 is a lot. So, I think we're going to see some reptiles we're not going to see on any other list. Bacillus lizard. They're pretty good swimmers, so they're going to need quite a huge swimming area so that they can swim well and lovely. And they're going to need a pretty big terrarium, probably high humidity, so not something I would recommend off the tip of the tongue. Same thing with our next guy, the caiman lizard. These guys get up to 4 feet long, and they're really good swimmers. So you need usually a 2 to 5 feet is about the size they get. So you need like a whole room pretty much. I would at least recommend a 12 to 13 foot long enclosure for these guys. And yeah. They're going to need a couple 100 gallons of water to just chillin'. And I think, yeah, they're interesting. And they're sometimes pretty pricey. Giggity spike. Skink. Skinks are cool. These skinks look really funny. And they are often found in groups. But they're usually not that big. So they're about 7 to 10 inches, so they're not a particularly huge lizard by any means. And they usually need a tank about 40 gallons, which is not a huge tank, and they require relatively heat since they are a desert creature. And they can live up to 20 years, and they are very expensive. So if you want Giggity skink, you're going to need a commitment here. There are other skinks that are much less expensive than this skink, but they are definitely cool to look at. The green iguana. Now, if you're going to get an iguana, get a blue iguana. I like blue iguanas because I think they look cooler, but green iguanas are probably the easiest to take care of the iguana family. Easiest in quotations, because they still need like a 12-foot long enclosure because, well, they're huge. They can get huge, up to 3 or 4 feet long. Again, another huge lizard. And they're going to need some waterish area, and they're going to need pretty high humidities. So, they're like dog-sized lizards. So, just keep that in mind before they get them. African fire skink. See, now, here's a better one for me right away than, than the last skink we saw. They're a lot less expensive. You can get them for around $70, $80, which isn't super expensive for a reptile. They get about 14, 15 inches, which is a little bit bigger than the other skink we saw, but they usually need... They're very shy. They have great personalities. So they are full of energy, and they usually have a great personality, so they're pretty cool. I like them. Gargoyle geckos. I love these guys. Gargoyle geckos are like crested geckos. They also come from New Caledonia, but I love gargoyle geckos. I totally want a gargoyle gecko when I get older. I think they're admirable. I think they're amazing, and I love them, and I love them a lot. It's either that or I get cresty, but they are awesome gargoyle geckos. So they're usually not super expensive. They're usually a little more than crested geckos. I love gargoyle geckos though. Savannah monitors. Probably the easiest in the monitor family to take care of. Still not super easy, and they can get about 3 feet long, which isn't huge at the end of the day. It's not a huge lizard. But they're still going to need a larger enclosure. And, they are an African monitor lizard, so sometimes they have pretty mean demeanors to them. Sometimes they just don't want to be held, and you're going to have to train them. They don't have as bad of a demeanor as the Asian group of monitors, the ones from Asia. They can be much faster, but these guys have pretty big mouths, so just be careful. They're smart, so they're pretty good at escaping too. Long-tailed lizards. Long-tailed lizards are, I think they're cool. They come from grasslands, and they usually, their tails are usually 3 times the length of their body. They're small and slender. They usually grow up to about 8 inches from the snout to the vent. They may not be very big. They should have a 20-gallon tank. So I would say even a 30-gallon tank. Whoa. They are a perfect pet for beginners looking to keep a small lizard in a well-decorated tank. They only live 5 to 6 years in captivity, and they're also pretty inexpensive, so you could get them very easily. Even if you're not a herpetologist, I want to be a herpetologist. Chameleons, they're awesome. Like I said in the last list, we saw them on. They're fragile. They're not really easy for everybody, so don't make that your first lizard you get. An Ackie monitor. Ackie monitors are probably the coolest beginner monitor to get. They don't get particularly big. They're from Australia, and they kind of look like small Komodo dragons. Some of them come from Australia. That's my bad. We got the Indian Ocean type ones and the ones from Africa. But they only range from 24 to 30 inches, but they're smaller than most other monitors. They are known to bask in very hot spots in humidity, and our requirements are relatively simple. Monitors typically aren't recommended for beginners, but Akis are tame, smaller than most. Yeah, they have a price to them. So, but I mean, if you wanted to be there, that means cool. Gold dust day geckos. Day geckos, they look like the gecko gecko. Because I'm pretty sure he is a gay gecko. I'm pretty sure he's a giant day gecko, though. Not like this. I like giant gay geckos and geckos like this. They're cool. I wouldn't hold them, though, because I'm pretty sure some of them peel their skin off. They're display pets with limited handling. So don't do that. Don't handle that. Water dragons again. My same opinion goes for the water dragons. I think they're really cool. I would like to own one, maybe down the line, eventually, one day. They need relatively high humidity, very high humidity, and they're gonna need large tanks, 4 to 6 feet long, because they can reach up to 3 feet in size. They enjoy swimming, so you'll need a large size pool of water in their closure to swim in. Smaller than most water dragons, they must be socialized at an early age to become handling. Once socialized, they typically approach with family. 15 to 20 years, and they cost. If you're looking for an Australian one, they cost a little more. So, but Chinese water dragons, people like African fat-tailed geckos. They don't need a huge enclosure. They're like leopard geckos, but they're even smaller. They live in Africa, so they need They can live, and they cost between $150 and $600, which puts them on the lower end of the leopard gecko in popularity. And they're about their great lack of availability. So they're hard to find, yeah, but they're really cool, and you can keep them in smaller areas. Usually, I'd recommend a 20 or 30 gallon, or just like a tub or something pretty big for them. Uromastyx. That's the first time we've seen Uromastyx on the list. I am fostering one at the moment. I'm fostering a Egyptian Uromastyx. They're cool. Mine is yellow. His name is Mr. B, if you haven't met him. If you're not familiar to the channel, which, what are you doing? Yeah. I like them. They're definitely... They have a good temperament. He's pretty friendly. Very friendly, actually. So, they live about 15 to 30 years, which is a long time, and they're not super expensive. So yes, I love Uromastyx. They look prehistoric, like dinosaurs. So I just love them. Argentine black and white tegus. They're cool. They get pretty darn big once full grown, and I would get them a pretty darn large enclosure and let them have some free roaming around. They like to burrow to extreme heat. They are more docile than most reptiles and can be handled readily. They're going to cost you $1 to $140. They are eats mice, so that might turn you off too if you don't want to feed them mice, but I mean, everything's good. Green anole, same thing goes. I've seen them both times. Here we go. Best skink for beginners. The blue tongue skink is an awesome skink. They're cool. You don't see them in everyone's collection, but I feel like they're a trademark. Everyone should have them in their collection, but people don't. Crested geckos in everybody's collection. Pretty cool. They climb. They're from New Caledonia, and they're just awesome reptiles. Leopard geckos, best gecko ever. It will never change my mind. No matter how many geckos I own, they will still be the best gecko ever. Bearded dragons are awesome. I love them. I will always love bearded dragons too, since I've had a couple now. So, let's go on to PetSmart's cool. The cool factor with 7 reptiles to chill with. Their blood may be cold, but the reptiles will win your heart. That's cool. Anoles. Okay. We've seen anoles. They're not even going to specify what kind, or they're not going to be like, oh, this type of anole. But anoles, same thing goes. Bearded dragons, awesome. I love them to death. Leopard geckos, best gecko. Snakes? What do you mean snakes? Snakes is in the category of animals. Interesting. Just tortoises and turtle. This is an interesting one. Not sure how I feel about this. Because you've got, like, water dragon and gecko, so you're not, and bearded dragon and gecko, so you're not just, like, just being, like, specifically, like, breaking it down just to a general species, but for the others, they were. So, I'm not sure how I feel about that, so we can get that out of there. Best reptile pets. Best reptile pets. These are the 5 most affectionate reptiles. Every time you see one, bearded dragon takes the first spot on the list because they're just super friendly. They're going to be the friendliest animal you're ever going to see in your life. And it's just, I love them. They're always handleable. They'll come and sleep on you. They'll just chill on you. Leopard geckos can be a little more squirmy, but I love them too. They can come and chill on me too, all they want. And they can climb on me, and I have a great time. Like I said, and I think this is right here, Argentine black and white tegus are pretty darn handleable. They're big, so they're a nice, big, handleable lizard. And I think they make great pets if you have the room. Chinese water dragons. Yes, so if you get them at a young age and you train them, or you just do a lot of training with them, if they're a rescue, I think they'll be great handleable creatures and they'll just chill. Corn snakes are probably one of the 2 most handleable. I think they're probably a little more handleable than ball pythons. Ball pythons can have a little more attitude. I think they don't take much care, and they're pretty fun to just chill with if you have a corn snake. So I could go either way, ball python, corn snake. Share your debates in the comments or whatever. Choosing the right reptile, that all comes down to you. I think that should really be open to the person. If you can take care of certain reptiles, go for it. If you have a place for a 400-gallon enclosure so you could have a caiman lizard, I mean, go for it. You do you. But if you've seen a recurring theme with crested geckos, leopard geckos, Chinese water dragons, bearded dragons, they are probably the not the easiest, especially not the Chinese water dragon, but the other 3 that I listed are probably the easiest and the most common in the lizard family. So, without further ado, let's get to the second segment, which is Amazon. So, we are here now, and we're going to look at 20-gallon enclosures because, I mean, we could look up reptile tanks. I think that would probably be going good too. $60. Whoa, that is an expensive terrarium. I don't know why they are all so expensive. I think it's just because of $84 here. Is this a 15 gallon? It's not even this is a 20 gal. Tropical vertical starter kit with tree-dwelling reptiles, amphibian like geckos, frogs. We're just looking. I don't know exactly. 10-gallon starter tank. No, you can't really do a ton with a 10 gal. I could probably get a 10 gal for very cheap though. Limited deal. What is this? This is a limited deal from Amazon Prime. This is a natural 20 by 18, so it's a 10 gal, but it looks kind of cool. But yeah, I don't have the money for. Not that I don't have the money for that. It's just I want a 20-gallon enclosure, but they seem to be relatively more expensive than I expected. I wouldn't. I mean, yeah. Let's see what we can find. Sort by featured. We're gonna go probably lowest. No, that's highest price to lowest price. That's too high, yeah. That's a $230 bike. Here we go, lowest to highest. That is not even... How long until we get to terrariums? $84, 15 glass. Nope, that's not even what we're looking for, dude. We should just... That is a 12 by 12 by 18. That's a 5 gal. That's not even... Wow, I didn't actually expect a 5 gal. Okay. But that is a 10 gal there. We're just looking for a nice 20 gal. Like, these wooden tortoise homes cost less than glass enclosures, which I just think is nuts in my mind. Zoo tempered glass. Tempered glass. Whoa, that makes it so much cooler to me. $18 by 18 by 18. That's an interesting one. An 18 by 18 by 18. That would be a great one for an amphibian and invest in a frog. It's $300. I think it's $200, not $300. I'm not, It's got the cable pans that can go inside. It's got, anti-escape safety lock. So there's a safety lock on the cage. It's got a ventile thing, ventile front, zoom edge. You just gotta put it together. Just gotta put it together. It's easy as that. So the item is 26 pounds. I mean, I feel like that would be great for like, I feel like that would be awesome for I'm thinking of something here. For like a frog or something. But, you know, I could be wrong. It's 25 gallons? What? Could I see it again in the front? I mean, yeah, it does kind of look like 25 gallons. And then, yeah, I mean, I feel like we're just going to add it to the cart for now. But yeah, we're going to add that to the cart. There, what? Bearded dragon leash plus harness. So, I am so confused. I do need to find driftwood and stuff, so I'm actually going to do that. But we are definitely adding that to cart right now. We're probably going to take this off of the cart at the moment. Well, we'll go to cart and remove it at the end. But I do need I'm looking for a log that sits up. Can I look up reptile log and that just be kind of what I'm looking for? Not a hide, but a log that would be like a chilling log that I could prop up on the side of my beardy's enclosure. Let me see. I mean, you've got this kind of cork bark type feel, but I'm not sure if that's exactly what I'm looking for. I kind of just want a piece of wood that would rest across. I think you know what I'm saying. You kind of get what I'm saying. I mean, cool, all these things, but I'm looking for something nice. What is this? This is driftwood? Okay, let's see it. Yeah, there's some pieces. Can add things to it to go into aquariums, vibrariums, and yeah, I kind of get what you're cooking there, but I just want. Can I look up reptile log rest? Reptile log, not hide, but climb Ooh. I don't know how. Oh. Ah. See, we're getting a little closer now. We are getting a tad bit closer because they're just long. They're a long piece of something. I do like kind of what this is showing. I'm not sure how big these are. They're not very rated very highly. Ah, there's a beauty on that. Yeah. I think we just take the cart and we go to cart, and I think we're just gonna take this off the cart. So we're actually just gonna we're taking that off. That's off the cart. So, I think that's going to end the podcast here today, guys. I thank you guys so much for joining me. Peace out. Peace out. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Should have wished you a wonderful day. You guys have a great day.